Hello, rich girls. Welcome back to Old Money, the podcast for women building the trust funds they wish they were born with. Today's episode is an easy breezy, fun one. I'm actually excited. I'm merging two of my ideas together. Not that you care how the sausage is made, but one of the things that I don't talk a lot about is my work, my day job, what I do for a living, and the intricacies of it. And FYI, I own a creative marketing agency and we focus on luxury branding, storytelling, and helping businesses get more businesses by providing exceptional creative work in photo, storytelling, strategy, social media, website, brand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I wanted to talk about that, but I'm like, okay, the rich girls don't really care. But don't you worry, because my friend, Jennifer Jacob, you heard about her because I was on Teak Talks podcast with her talking all about the language of luxury. She had an amazing idea, which was talking about the little luxe life upgrades that make you feel super abundant. And obviously, absolutely, I said, on my way, sis, I will bring it to you. I will tell you what is making my life feel absolutely luxe right now. But I wanted to connect it in also for my lovers of luxury to tell you a little bit about how and why this matters in business and make this a little two for one. We'll talk a little strategy. We'll talk a little bit of luxe life that you can bring into your own house, right? And at the end, by the way, I have a super special, super important, super on topic birdie that's going to make you sound impressive as hell this April. So stay tuned for that. But let's first get into back to my work, back to what I do Monday through Friday. So my background is in real estate development, and a lot of the work that we do now is with real estate developers. We are selling homes. We are selling apartment homes for rent. We are selling new homes for sale, maybe townhomes, maybe single family homes, all these different things. And my job as the marketing and branding expert is to provide a strategy of not just how to sell these homes, but also how to position them. And positioning is one of the most challenging things in marketing to do. And I say this only because from an agency perspective, I've heard a lot of agency owners who have said, we don't do positioning. We will make you a brand, we will make you a logo, we will put it on social media, but positioning takes too much work and is way too hard. And you know what? I totally agree. And the reason that I do positioning for real estate companies or real estate development projects is because I know it so well. And it's something that I can do very effectively, but to do it at scale can be really challenging. And the reason is there's a lot of things to consider. When you're positioning a brand or a business, when you're especially starting a brand, like coming up with it from scratch, you have to understand the competitive landscape very deeply so you can understand how to differentiate yourself. You deeply have to understand your customer and not just who they are, what their demographics are, where they work, what they drive, but their psychographics. And what that means is understanding what they value. So for different groups of consumers, they all value different things. And the things that they value are not just things like having a car that goes fast or having a car that gets good gas mileage, but it's about how the things that they buy reflect on their viewpoints of themselves. So does this car give them status? Does it make them feel like they're saving the environment? Does it make them feel like they're a safe, responsible mom? So understanding the depth of the customer avatar experience is a lot of work. It takes a lot of research. And in real estate, for example, we get that research through anecdotal data, like asking and interviewing a lot of different people. That's a big piece of marketing is, capturing data. We also talk to a ton of real estate agents who are working with buyers in the field all the time. We interview potential buyers. We shop all the product. We go and see how everybody else is selling themselves. And we ask questions about what their customers care about. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm barely scratching the surface on the positioning here, but those two things, like the differentiation, understanding competitors, and then understanding the customer avatar are super, super important. And what's really nice though about what we get to do at AF Marketing is I really get to focus in those efforts in, like I said, real estate development, but also in the luxury space. So we also work with a lot of brands who have high net worth clientele, even if it's business to business. Like we work with a tech company that serves med spa owners, or we've worked with a brand who works with selling ads for beauty brands and they have a very distinct customer, and kind of creating this aspirational, inspirational brand association is so important in the positioning and the strategy that goes behind what that logo looks like or what colors you're going to use and why. So when I say all of this, and I promise I'm bringing it back to something that will be applicable for you, I wanted to share and kind of spill the tea on one of my proprietary methods for great positioning for any real estate development project. This is super niche, but the reason it relates to you is because real estate development, what are we building? We're building homes. Everybody that's listening to this podcast has some sort of a home. The types of homes might vary. It could be an apartment, a room, a mansion, a high rise. It could be a townhome. It could be anything really, any place that you lay your head if you're lucky enough to have a place to do so. But also it's the home within ourselves. And we carry ourselves around in a home all day long. And the home is disgustingly referred to by one of my past therapists as our meat suit. I hate that, but it's stuck with me all these years. We're walking around these souls in a meat suit, right? And when I think about home for me, it really does. I mean, I'm a Cancer, my astrological sign, my sun sign is a Cancer. So I'm very connected to my home. The Cancer symbol is a crab. So, crabs live within their shell. So I'm also very emotional and sensitive on the underbelly, but can have a hard exterior at times. But home for me means a lot of things, and it's very important to me. And when I think about the home that I have within myself, it's something that I always come back to for a place of safety, which is kind of like the core understanding of who I am, what I'm doing, and it provides me protection against this very scary outside world. And when we're selling homes to people, we're doing the exact same thing. We're trying to give them protection from this big bad world that's living out there on the outside, and this home can be your sanctuary. But even more, extrapolating off of that, we've started to do a lot of programming for hotels, so this hospitality space, and the same things apply. And I think it's even easier to understand when you think about this proprietary method I'm going to share with you in a hospitality setting, because all of these techniques that I'm going to share with you today, these little luxuries that help you feel super abundant, you will see them in practice and in the science. Like, there is data to show why these things improve your life, and every single hospitality group out there that's worth their weight in what they're charging you for a hotel room is implementing them. And I'm going to help you implement them today in your own life as well. So here's the method. Here's the thing. This is the thing that I package up and I sell to all of the people that we do branding and positioning projects for, all the strategy that we do as it relates to real estate development or hospitality projects. I approach this with a 6 senses approach. And you're like, Amber, babe, there's only 5 senses, right? It's sight, smell, sound, touch, and taste. But for me, the 6th one is space. Obviously, the space in a model home or a hotel lobby is super, super important. But for me, when we talk about what that means tangibly in our day-to-day lives, I have some different ideas for you. So let's jump into it. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why these 6 senses are so important. But I also just wanted to make a note first. Like, this is not the 6 senses resort. So if you work in hospitality, you know about the 6 senses resort. It's this like uber fancy wellness resort brand. And I actually really love this brand. I have not stayed at a 6 senses resort. So my travel advisors that are listening, if you have any intel, if I should invest in a trip there, please let me know. But essentially the 6 senses is a type of property. It's like a chain, like a hotel chain, like a Mon or Hyatt or whatever, right? But they have this really beautiful logo mark, and it's these dots that are kind of stacked up in a little triangle or pyramid. And I looked up the history of the logo because I was like, okay, what's their 6th sense? Because if me, the 6 senses resort, and M. Night Shyamalan all have this 6th sense in common, I need to figure out what it is for all of us, right? And we know that Bruce Willis was actually dead the whole time, spoiler alert, in that movie. But the 6 senses logo originates from, and this is from their website, blessing marks made by the fingers of Buddhist monks on auspicious occasions in Thailand. There are 3 primary senses of sight, sound, and touch. Those are at the base of the pyramid. The second tier represents the harmony of taste and smell. And then the apex, the dot at the top, represents the sixth sense, which they say is intuition. And yeah, duh, of course it is. I love that so much. My sixth sense is different. That's okay. This is a branding sixth sense. But I just thought that was beautiful and wanted to acknowledge this incredible company. And the idea of six senses is not an original one. It's just what I use to apply to make really great brand packages and really great strategy packages. So with that, let's dive into the six senses of luxury, starting with sight. So this is an easy one. Obviously, you want the space that you're in to be beautiful. There's this amazing quote that says something along the lines of like, have nothing in your home that you do not believe to be useful or beautiful. And I totally subscribe to that, which means that we're a bit of minimalists around here. So I love to have things nice and neat. That doesn't mean I live in a model home where nothing can be touched or nothing can be out. I try to allow myself some landing pads, so to speak, or like, the chair, like the chair in your room that like gets all of the dirty laundry. I have one of those in my closet. It's not a chair, it's a basket, but you get the point. And having like my desk can be creative. It's okay. I'll clean it up later. I don't stress about everything, but I do very much consider a tidy, messy, free, clutter-free home to really help calm our nervous system. Now, I know a lot of us out there, not me, but a lot of us have kids and they have toys everywhere. And it can be very mentally overstimulating when you have clutter like that all of the time. And listen, I'm not here to shame anyone and say clean up after your kids every single day or make them clean up, get baskets, get a toy room. Not everybody has space to have an extra dedicated space for a playroom. I didn't have one when I was growing up. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling frazzled, and you can't pinpoint why, it might be because of visual clutter or visual chaos that's in your life. Even if you tend to tune it out, because a lot of us do that, it's like, okay, that chaos is controlled, that clutter is controlled. It actually really does impact how we feel in our homes. There was a study done in 2009 that found the levels of the stress hormone cortisol, which we talk about all the time, were higher in mothers whose home environment was cluttered. And also, a chronically cluttered home can lead to constant low-grade fight or flight response, which we talk about a lot on the show, and the way that chemicals will dump in your body when you're in that constant state of unrest. It's going to tax your nervous system. Being in fight or flight can actually harm us in the way that we even like digest food or build immunity or have a strong immune system, because it can trigger those physiological changes that will leave us at greater risk of getting sick and also not digesting food well, which is so crazy. But there was another study in 2016 that showed that background clutter resulted in participants in the study being less able to correctly interpret the emotional expressions on the faces of characters in a movie, which means that there might just be general negative implications for relationships, either with your partner, with your kids, or in your workplace, if you are living amongst clutter. So having a clean space actually is good for our health and can overall contribute to ease. And for me, luxury is ease. It's frictionless living where everything has a home, everything has a place, and everything feels organized and beautiful so that my brain can feel organized and beautiful. In addition to just decluttering, there's two other things I would say here on this sight category, which would number one be having beautiful art in your home. Whether it's in the form of collected art or art that your kids made or photographs of happy times, there's nothing better than having good, positive pieces around us. And if you make them yourself, all the better. I'm actually sitting in a room right now where we have two pieces of art, one that Justin and I made together and one I made on my own. And they just bring me so much joy. I think back to when we made them, when I made one. They just make me feel so, so happy. And then also having photos that are very meaningful to me around my house is such a perk and an upgrade. So if you haven't changed out your photos in a while, this is your reminder to do so. I want you to have a happy space with memories or happy moments around you. In addition to that, if you're starting an art collection, there's a lot of really low cost options out there for great framed photography, even at scale, like larger pieces that are not super expensive and come framed and are beautiful. We've used a couple like House of Spoils, also Idol Collective, it's IDYLL. We've also used like art.com. We got this incredible, huge, oversized Slim Aaron's piece that's in our living room from Fine Art America, and it came framed and everything ready to go. I'm obsessed with it, and it totally changed the whole mood of the room, making it feel whimsical, light, summery, fun, when before it was feeling a little bit dull. So I'm a big fan of getting some art in your house. We also just had an incredible experience of having a piece of art commissioned by one of our friends who's an artist, and that was a really fun thing that we need to hang still. But just another suggestion, if you're looking for art out there, call on the artists in your life. Okay, the next section or the next idea in this six senses approach would be smell. Now, we will always remember Mary Crosby saying, "You smell like hospital." And I don't think there's anything we want to smell less like than a hospital. And how do we get around that? Well, first of all, there's massive power in scent. Okay. There was a survey done on hotel guests, and 91% of them said that a pleasant smell in the lobby would have a positive impact on their experience. And 67% of those guests said that a pleasant smell in the lobby would make them feel more patient and relaxed. Hello, would you like to feel more patient and relaxed in your house? I would. I think that would be great. In addition to that, 69% of people that were surveyed in this study said that a pleasant smell in the lobby would improve their perception of the brand. Now, we are all crafting our own personal brands all of the time. I think we all deserve to have positive impacts, just kind of like floating around into our nostrils. And also, if that pleasant smell can help us feel more patient and relaxed, I would love to have that. So what does that mean? It means we need to control the smells in our house. The sense of smell is also super closely linked with emotions and memory, which basically just means like when you smell something familiar, it can trigger you to go emotionally somewhere in your brain or go to a memory really, really quickly. So what's really interesting about this is there was an influencer, and I do not remember, but I think she's selling like manifestation courses or something like that online. And she had this manifestation product, and they were meant to be used when you were manifesting. She had like a spray, and then there was drops that you were supposed to put in water, and they were all supposed to tie into your sense of smell and taste when you were manifesting, so that when you were manifesting, you would spray the spray, smell it, and then if you sprayed it later, it would trigger you to have the same vibrational frequency or memory of what you were thinking about when you were manifesting. I thought that was a brilliant idea. I was all about it. So I ordered the stuff. Unfortunately, the smell to me was grandma. I did not like it at all. But what I have noticed is that I can trigger myself into certain states or memories just by smelling the same smell when I'm manifesting and then when I want it again. So you guys know I've talked about I created my own perfume at a perfumery class. And so that's a scent that really links to me, to expansion and my future ideal self, all that kind of stuff. But also just having scents happen for you that are your signature scents or that you associate with memories is really important. We were looking for a new cologne for Justin a couple years ago. And I mean, the man made me smell every cologne from here to Timbuktu, I felt like. And we met this one guy, I forget where we were, and he was just such a good salesperson. We almost bought everything from him just because he was such a storyteller. There's a lesson in that for sure. But he was saying like every man must have two colognes. You have to have one that you wear to the office. It's your everyday work cologne. And then you need a nighttime cologne, one that has nothing to do with work, that's not going to trigger a memory of you being in a boardroom. It's going to trigger nights out with your partner, fun events, different things that you do that are fun. And you want to delineate those two smells so you don't bleed them together. And I think that is so on point and so important. So that's just like a side note here. But the other thing that I want to just come back to in the branding and positioning of it all is that every single hotel you go into is going to be scented in a very specific way if they are a luxury place. So a couple of things that they do that you might not know about is they actually scent their businesses through the air conditioning vents. The company that does this is called Aroma 360. That's one of them anyway, that I used to use to scent model homes. But Aroma 360 is so random. But if you're watching Real Housewives of Miami, Lisa Hochstein's doing her new perfume. It's giving Paris Hilton vibes, called Fly. And she's doing it with Aroma 360, which is one of these companies that you buy cartridges for your air conditioning filter so that you can scent them like the scent that you want your customers to feel. And they give you all of these scent beads that are all incredible. Like they all smell so good, but they also give the emotions with them that they're meant to evoke. So if you get a vanilla or whatever, a vanilla scented bead, they tell you what emotions it will evoke in your clientele so that it can help you achieve your business goals. Like I mentioned earlier, do you want your people to feel more patient and relaxed, or do you want them to feel motivated to buy? Like all of these different scents have different emotion profiles that come with them as well. It's so crazy. So hotels and Vegas casinos are notorious for doing this, but I used to also do it in model homes or in apartment communities. And over time, I would obviously get immune to the smell. But for somebody who walks in and the first thing that they do or they register is, wow, it smells good in here, that's a really positive experience. So with your home scent or with your own personal scent, you might get, I don't know, like nose blind to it. That's the Febreze term, but you get used to it, right? So I think it's interesting to mix it up every once in a while. And so I'll kind of have these seasons of my life where I have different scents that I like in my house at different times. Now, right now, I am obsessed, dying for obsessed with the scent that I got at the hotel that I stayed at in Fort Worth a couple of weeks ago, which was the Hotel Drover. It's a Marriott Bonvoy property. You know, I'm a Marriott Bonvoy girly, but I walked into that hotel and I was like, oh, I am home. I'm in Texas. I'm obsessed. And they had candles for sale and I bought one and I've been burning it religiously because it smells so good. It's called Firestarter and it doesn't really smell like campfire. It just smells comfortable and homey and it brings me so much joy. And it's really been a little luxe upgrade that I really look forward to the time when I'm burning that candle. Like I will burn it when it's my time to unwind, when I'm ready to like relax after a long day. I'm really obsessed with that right now. And that's my favorite thing. And then the other thing is body wash that I've been using in the shower. I've been using the Byredo Bal de Freak. I think that's how you say it. Bal de Freak? That sounds kind of weird, but I think that's how you say it. Byredo. Anyway, body wash. And it just smells so light and clean and fresh and feminine that it's really been upgrading my shower game. The other thing in the shower are these new like shower bombs. Have you guys seen these? It's kind of like when you would get into the bath and you do a bath bomb, but this one you just throw on the floor of your shower while the water's running. It just dissolves and it has essential oils in them and it gives off an incredible spa-like aroma. My friend Susanna got me this one I'm obsessed with. It's lavender, eucalyptus, and lemon, I think, and it just smells so clean. It makes the experience so positive. The last thing I'll say on smell, which is unfortunately a trend I can't participate in because Justin and I just need to have a free and clear laundry detergent. But the laundry detergent scenting is so big right now. In fact, there is a brand called Sniff.co. Sniff is formed, or it was founded rather, by Kim Kardashian's BFF, Simon Huck, I think it is. He's been in business with her on a lot of different things. He's also friends with Claudia from The Toast, and I see that he gifts her stuff all the time. So if anybody has a hookup to Simon and Sniff.co, I want to try all the products. I would love to review them for you. I would wash my own laundry on its own with just these scents because I want to try it so badly. They have a laundry detergent scent called Old Money. You guys, somebody needs to try it. I want to smell it so badly. And the other thing that I've heard that's out there is people are freaking over the laundry detergent edition. It's again, just like a scent thing called Glamorous Diva Wash. Apparently, people are freaking over it. If you've tried it, I need to know if it's worth the investment. I'm kind of scared it's going to break me out or something. So that's why I haven't tried it yet. But please let me know. If you have sensitive skin and you're using these things and it's good, let me know. Okay? Okay, I'm freaking out. If you know me, you might know that I struggled with acne and rosacea for years, have hypersensitive skin, and basically break out if someone just breathes on me. And I've always struggled with makeup, like buying it, applying it, and not hating it on my skin until about a year ago when I discovered this brand that changed the game for me. I am so proud to announce that Old Money is an official affiliate of Kosas. Kosas is the makeup for skincare freaks. I like them because they're clean products adhering to the EU, Sephora, and Credo clean standards, meaning the products are formulated without parabens, sulfates, formaldehyde, dimethicone, aluminum, fragrance, and all these other ingredients I just can't pronounce. Please don't ask. And their products are multitasking. They all include super nourishing ingredients at active levels to bring real skincare benefits, hydrating, soothing, brightening, plumping, and more. Let me tell you my 30-second morning makeup routine. It's actual perfection. First of all, start with the Revealer Concealer. I know you've seen this product. It's on TikTok every day. It's basically concealer with eye cream in it. Then I go in with the Dream Beam SPF 40. It perfects the skin and protects it. I press in the Cloud Setting Powder under my eyes and T-zone. This is the key to literal poreless skin. Then pop the brows with Brow Pop Nano, super pigmented, and it actually stays all day. And then I top it all off with my obsession, the wet lip oil. I literally have 5 of these, and Jellyfish and Unhooked are my 2 go-tos. Treat yourself or check out Kosas for the woman in your life if you need a gift. You cannot go wrong with their sets. To support the show, please use our affiliate link to show Kosas you were inspired by the Old Money podcast to upgrade your makeup routine. The affiliate link is here in our show notes. You can always go online to our website, oldmoneypodcast.com, and click on the sponsors area. Follow the link there. And I will link it on Instagram stories. You can check out our sponsors highlight. And even better, the link that I'm linking you to, it takes you right to the Build Your Own Kosas set where you can get 3 full-size products for 10% off. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And thank you, Kosas, for saving my skin. The next thing that we're going to talk about as it relates to the 6 senses of luxury and ways that you can improve your own life at home is sound. Now, background music. You know, when you get in an elevator, you walk into a hotel, you walk into an apartment community, you walk into a model home, there's music and it's on purpose. It's because it has a significant impact on everybody's mood, especially in hospitality. For guests, music sets the tone and the atmosphere. So when you walk into someplace and the music matches with the experience that you're seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. For example, the Parker Palm Springs does it so good. And the way that I have Shazammed 1 million songs from the Parker Palm Springs, because it's so on point, it's almost jarring when the music doesn't match the atmosphere for me. And with the Parker, they nailed it. It's a super funky setting. So they have some like French pop, they have some old jazz, they have just like very chill, easy to listen to music that feels unique. It's not something that you've heard before. Now, because I've gone to the hotel so many times, I basically know their playlist by heart. And because I've Shazammed all the songs and have them on my own playlist. But the reality is that especially in a luxury hotel, music plays such an essential role in setting the mood. And when it's carefully curated selection of music, it can totally change the outcome or the perception of the brand. In a consumer setting, not only do you have the mood enhancement, but you also have increased productivity, which is so crazy. So what that might look like, for example, when you're in a grocery store, like have you ever noticed recently when you're in a grocery store now, the bangers are banging. It's like all this great like yacht rock 80s music. It's like things you haven't heard for a while from the 90s. That's because the people that are shopping now in the grocery stores grew up when they heard that song on the radio, and it brings them back to a state of comfort, security, and wantingness to buy. So increased productivity could also increase people's urgency to purchase or their willingness to purchase. But also it can help you with motivation and productivity at home. And then again, this like brand reinforcement, right? So you want to make sure that the playlist supports like basically a musical landscape in the background of your life that supports the brand you're trying to pull forward in your own life. So if you want to have a super luxurious, relaxed, expansive experience on this earth, create a playlist that means that to you. I am such a freak about playlists. I am a Spotify girly through and through, and I never get good results on my end of the year Spotify Wrapped, I feel, because I listen to the most obscure music all year long. And it's a lot of like lo-fi, like Blockhead and 07. And I listen to a lot of weird playlists that are just kind of backgroundy to me. I listen to a ton of deep house relax while I'm working, really gets me in the mood. I'm obsessed. And then not only that, it helps me feel expansive. I have a lot of playlists that are certain things that I have been, I don't want to say manifesting, but kind of like envisioning for myself, that I'm still envisioning for myself. And I'll give you a crazy one. You know, I grew up in Northern California. I lived there for about 3 years for work. And I remember one time I was driving home from the city, or from San Francisco, trying to get home. And I was stuck in traffic. It was pouring rain. And I was in this kind of industrial area trying to get onto the Bay Bridge. And I looked up and there was these, I don't even know, apartments or condos or whatever. And they had floor to ceiling windows facing the street on the second floor. And I could see the hint of like an Ames chair. I could see some interior plants and just this like ambient glow, I think from a television. And at that moment, I was listening to something super ambient, I think Radiohead or Blockhead or something like that. And I just thought about, because I was stuck in traffic, literally had to pee so badly. And I remember there was also a Burger King right there. And I contemplated leaving my car in traffic and going to pee in the Burger King because I had to pee that badly. Okay. This is a very vivid memory. However, I was trying to not focus on peeing my pants, and I was trying to focus on what would life be like if I lived my dream life in a great apartment with floor to ceiling windows that overlooked the city on a rainy day, being cozy at home with my partner and my dog. What would I feel like? What would life be like? How would I dress? How would I cook? What would I be wearing? What kind of dog would I have? Who would my partner be? It would be so cozy and rainy. I wouldn't have any worries. And you guys, that is my life now. Like, I live in that apartment, but in San Diego, which in my opinion is much better for me than San Francisco. And I am living my dream life. And I put that playlist on all the time to kind of give a wink back to my past self, to be like, look, girly, you did that. You can do it again. Dream bigger, dream again, do it again. But also to just be in that moment, like that moment that I craved when I was sitting in my little Jetta, trying to get home on the Bay Bridge, stuck in traffic, needing not to pee my pants. It's brand reinforcement. It's my life reinforcement. And I want to create the life that feels really good for me. And music is a really good way to do that. So my biggest go-to is the Apple Home. We just got one. I got one for Christmas. And you can tell Alexa, no, not Alexa. You can tell Siri, Siri to turn on whatever playlist you want. And I normally shout something at her like, hey Siri, turn on lo-fi chill winter downtown playlist. And she figures it out some way, somehow. And it's just background music. And it's not music I want to sing to. It's not music that I want to like have change or elevate my mood. I just want it to be background supportive of the landscape that I'm creating. Okay, the next sense is touch. And I think the best way to describe this is with the clothes that you're wearing, the things that are touching your body at all times. Now, when you are wearing something that's itchy or it's got tags, it doesn't fit properly, you can be so uncomfortable. Like, we've all had a thong that just rides up the wrong way. And all day long, the only thing that you can think about is it appropriate to pick my wedgie right now? Like, can I do that? Is anybody looking? Are there security cameras? Will this go on TikTok later? I've been there. And now I wear the same pair of underwear every single day. I got them off Amazon. They're so freaking comfortable. And I don't ever have to think about it. When you are uncomfortable with the way that things are touching your body, it's all consuming. And when you have things that are comfortable on your body, I don't want to say it's like being naked, because I don't think I'd feel very comfortable walking around naked everywhere, but it's like second skin. It doesn't bother you. It's just comfortable. And that can be in the fabrics that you choose, the fit that you choose, the warmth level that you need, like getting really honest about it. But for me, it really does play into what type of fabric I'm wearing and how it fits me. So, when I look at pajamas, for example, I want to have a really comfortable experience, and I never want anything to wake me up in the middle of the night. So I just got these amazing PJs from Free People that are super loose. I know they're just a polyester blend, but they're so comfortable, and they honestly like are super temperature regulating for me. And I don't feel uncomfortable in them at all because they barely even have a drawstring. They're just like flopping around. And also they're long, so they keep me warm. Also, like fabrics for when I'm working. Like, I work at home most of the time, so it's not comfortable for me to be in a blazer. I just feel like I'm unnecessarily restricted. So I wear a lot of sweaters at home, and I love a comfortable, warm cashmere sweater that's light. I get a lot of them from Free People. Actually, again, they have a really good cashmere line, believe it or not, that's not that expensive. I also love Zadig and Voltaire for cashmere sweaters that are great to throw over the shoulders. Also, my mom got me a ton of great cashmere pieces, like just tops basically, from Macy's. And they're just all basics, crew necks, like black or gray or whatever. And they're just great layering pieces to keep you warm. And they just don't feel like you're wearing anything. I'm just more comfortable with them on. In addition to that, jeans that fit well, that are not riding up, that are not cutting into you. I think that the things that we overlook in creating comfort for ourselves are what we adorn our bodies with on a day-to-day basis. I am also very guilty of getting hung up on sizes of things and like needing to get my size. And then, oh my God, somebody tell me that I'm not crazy and thinking Lululemon sizes have shrunk over time. Like I used to be a 6 in pants and now a 6 in pants, like it's cutting off my circulation. And well, maybe my butt's getting bigger. I'm not really sure. But same thing with the tops. Like all of their fits are just bizarre to me at this point. And I can never order anything online because I feel like every piece I get fits so differently. And then I just try to make it work. And then I don't wear the thing. Or when I wear the thing, I'm super uncomfortable with the thing. So finding stuff that fits us, that really fits us, that is not just the size that we think we should be, I think is super, super crucial and a big part of feeling comfortable in our home that is our body. We deserve to feel comfortable in our homes that are our body for us, not for anybody else, but for how it feels on us. Okay, the next sense that we're talking about to improve our luxurious experience of life is taste. And obviously, we know when we go to any type of hotel or resort, the food experience is one of the most pinnacly important pieces of that experience. We want to have good food. In fact, I just saw, do you guys remember the girl that did Bama Rush Talk that was like, have a great day, not just a good day? Of course, I still follow her on TikTok. I don't know why, but she's like in, I don't know, Panama City Beach or someplace random for spring break. Maybe that's not even right. But her and her friends were complaining about the food, that it was just inedible at their resort. And that is enough to ruin your vacation. Like if you can't eat anything good because the food sucks, that sucks. However, my take on taste is a little bit different and I want to talk about it. You're going to be like, yes, the bitch is going to tell us to drink champagne. And I'll get to that in a second. But let me tell you about what really needs to happen for this sense, for you to live your ultimate luxe life. You need to get your teeth cleaned more often. I am obsessed with getting my teeth cleaned. I have the best dentist in San Diego, actually voted that way. She's also a client of mine, full disclosure, but Dr. Niku Rabar at Dentique, it's in Bankers Hill. Dr. Rabar has been voted best cosmetic dentist because she does the best cosmetic dental work I have ever seen. And honestly, working with her for as long as we have, like I've seen a lot of dental work now, and I feel very confident in saying that because I'm seeing everything that her competitors do, but she is the best. And actually Nadia, who's a friend of mine that I've met through Dentique, who's one of the dental hygienists there, is so freaking good. You guys, I'm very lucky that my dad used to take me to the dentist when I was very young and I had a very happy association there. I never had any major dental trauma, but Nadia is so gentle. She's so good. And when I tell you this is a full-on luxury experience, Dentique is a dental spa. Doesn't smell like a dentist. It actually is scented. Speaking of scents, they have scented it after Dr. Bar's favorite hotel, which is the one hotel in Miami. If you've been, you know it is so incredible. You smell the interior of Dentique when you literally walk up. Like you can smell it before you're even in the building. It's so incredible. And they use one of those air conditioning scenting systems. So FYI, businesses do that. But the reason they're doing it is because they want to calm anxiety in their patients. They want it to be a really special spa experience. So when you get your teeth cleaned at Dentique, you're not only getting like the best service ever because you're sitting in like the Rolls Royce of a dental chair that literally massages you and they give you a blanket and a neck roll and a pillow and it's so comfortable. But they have this thing that's an air polisher that is this pink looking gun. It's so cute. And they literally blast your teeth with this like, I don't even know. It's like really fine sand, kind of tastes sweet, and it makes your teeth feel so flippin' clean. I am obsessed with it. It's called a Prophy Jet. Go to Dentique and ask for it. If you do not have dental insurance, I do not have dental insurance either. They have a membership where you can get 2 cleanings a year for $500. It covers your x-ray, your exams, your cleanings, etc. If you have extra dental work to be done, you can get a discount on it. It's all good. Yes, they are a client of mine, but no, I'm not getting a kickback for saying this. I literally just am that obsessed with getting my teeth cleaned. When your mouth is healthy, everything tastes better. When your mouth is clean, you can go on with your life. And I'm so obsessed with this that I have like a crazy dental hygiene routine where I tongue scrape first thing every morning. I have a copper tongue scraper that I got off of Amazon. And before I can do anything, before I can talk, before I can kiss my dog, before I can take a drink of water, I have to scrape the gunk that is on my tongue off of it and into the sink. Like I'm afraid to drink water now before I do this because I don't want to swallow all of that bacteria that's been on my mouth all night when I'm sleeping. I think it's disgusting. This is something that I got from an Ayurvedic doctor back when I was like 21. So I know Lauren Bostic talks about this too. And I'm just here to say I fully endorse what she says about tongue scraping. And I'm telling you, it will change your freaking life. If you have bad breath, you have to tongue scrape. Tongue scraping is key. Flossing, I floss 5 times a day. I'm obsessed. Mouthwash, I've been trying this coconut oil thing, but honestly, the texture is so gnarly. So if you haven't heard on TikTok, there's this trend going around where people are using coconut oil. It's mint flavored coconut oil, and they're swishing it and saying that it's so good for their whitening and their gums and whatever. And again, just the texture, because it's actually coconut oil. It's just like a little less viscous. It's like not hardened. It's kind of nar. Anyway, I'm obsessed with a healthy mouth, healthy teeth, healthy gums, and everything tastes better. And speaking of things tasting better, let me tell you again what you should be investing in, okay? We love a healthy meal, but when we want to splurge, there's nothing better, you guys, than Petrosian caviar. I am obsessed. And this is something that the whole exercise here is like tie in the 6 senses of hospitality and 6 senses of Amber's branding experience for real estate development with how we can improve our lives at home. Well, caviar is very prohibitive for a lot of people, and it is very expensive. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of money for a small amount of things. However, if you splurge every once in a while and you do it at home, it doesn't have to be that expensive, okay? Okay, so what I get from Petrosian is the Royal Astera caviar. I might be saying that wrong. And what I buy is the tin for 30 grams. It's $129. And honestly, it's enough for Justin and I to share. Or you can get the 50 gram for $210. And you don't need a lot of caviar. You don't have to have a ton of it. You're not lumping it onto a baked potato like Kathy Hilton, but it is super decadent. And again, when you're buying something in the store, you're buying something in a restaurant, they're going to mark it up like 100%. So it's very cost prohibitive. But if you do it at home, you can do it right and have a lot of fun with it to toast a special occasion. This is not something I'm pulling out on a Tuesday night every Tuesday. It's something that when the occasion calls for it, I'm going to put in an order. So I'll order the blinis, which are these little pancakes. They're little Russian pancakes. They have almost no taste. I've also made them at home. They're very easy. It's like flour, butter, I think like a little bit of salt and maybe a little bit of sugar. I don't know. Very easy to make at home if you Google it. Anyway, I can order the blinis and the caviar from Petrosian. It comes shipped FedEx like overnight. And then you can make all the little accoutrements at home. Proper caviar service includes all these little accoutrements. So what you do is you start with your blini or a toast, depending on, usually I think the English do toast, but I prefer the blini. Not Bellini, like that's a champagne drink with peach. This is a blini, Blini. Take a blini, you put creme fraiche on it. You can get creme fraiche from Petrosian as well. You can also get it at any market, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Ralph's, whatever. Then you put your caviar on, then you put your accoutrement on top. And the accoutrement should be, you can have a little mix of things. You can do white onion. That's less common. Normally you see red onion, which I love. You do hard-boiled eggs, but you separate the whites from the yolks. And by the way, all these things have to be cut up super small, super finely. You can do green onions. You can also do chives. And I feel like there's something else, but I can't remember right now. Anyway, you have all of those out in their own individual little bowls. And then you make these little like pancakes for yourself with the caviar. The one thing that I will say is you do need to make sure that you keep your caviar on ice even when you're eating it. You want to make sure that it stays nice and cold. That's really important for the texture. And then you also want to use a pearl spoon. So you can buy a pearl spoon on Petrosian. They're not that expensive. I think they start at like $15. You only really need one. You can share with your partner. But the reason you want to use a pearl spoon is because metal will change the taste of the caviar significantly. It will actually give it like a metallic taste. So the proper way to scoop caviar is with a pearl spoon. They're very cute. They come in their little like sleeves where you store them. And honestly, you don't need to make it anything fancy. It's just like, I will chop everything up. I take a lot of care in chopping all the accoutrements up. So they're in really like teeny tiny pieces that are all the same size. That makes really good mouthfeel, and I just put them in little bowls and we serve ourselves over the kitchen counter, like at the island while we're drinking champagne. And it's just a lovely way to celebrate. So if you have something coming up in your life and you haven't tried it yet, I encourage you, Petrosian, please be a sponsor of Old Money Podcast. I've talked about you 100 times before. It's my favorite treat throughout the year. It's the most fun thing to celebrate and it's super fancy. And it's also just about fully enjoying the delicacy of the moment because it's kind of a pain in the ass to put these little blinis together. Honestly, you have to be really intentional and you have to be really present while you do it. So anyway, that's my recommendation for taste. On top of that, I wanted to steal something, not from me. This is from Justin, basically. We love wine. Justin loves wine. I love to drink what Justin buys. So we typically drink a lot of Napa Cabs, and I wanted to give you what I think are like his top 5 bottles. If you want to have something bougie at home or you want to have something to take to a dinner party and really impress your guests, we love Cabs just for the body, the flavor, the minerality. But let me tell you our top 5 picks, okay? Number 1 right now, Gurgit Chills. I didn't even clear this list with him, by the way. So he might come back to me later and be like, how dare you say that? I would have said these 5 instead. I'm just telling you what I've seen a lot of bottles of in our house recently. The first one, Gurgit Chills. The second one, Stag's Leap Artemis. The third, Nickel and Nickel. The fourth, Chapelet. It's Chapelle or something like that. You'll Google it. You'll find it. And this one's a little over $100, but a bottle of Camus. Now, I prefer, especially as we're getting into the warmer summer months, a dry white wine. So my favorite right now is a Rombauer Sauvignon Blanc, which is just easy for me to grab at our local bodega right down the street. They have it in stock. I always get it. It's so refreshing on a warm day. But if we're out and about, I'm always going to try the Sancerre or the Albarino that they have on the menu. Sancerre is like a dry white from France, and Albarino is Spanish, I'm pretty sure. And they're both just really beautifully flavored, well-balanced, light, and easy to drink. So the last sense to talk about, which is the one that I've really coined, which is the sense of space, I think is the most important thing in a luxury experience. And I'm not just talking about what's in the space or how the space is decorated. I'm talking about space, period. Now, I talk about this in branding all of the time, but when we're doing design, for example, you're going to notice, especially if you flip through, I don't know, a Vogue or a very high-end magazine, Harper's Bazaar, Town and Country, the advertisements are going to have a lot of white space or negative space around the subject they're trying to show. That's a lot of environment around the subject. Providing space around a subject makes that subject feel more important. Think about it this way. When you're shopping for a purse, what's a more luxurious experience? When you walk into Gucci or Louis Vuitton and every bag has its own spot on its own shelf with its own light? Or when you're digging through a pile of bags that are discounted at Nordstrom's rack? Or you're looking through all these piles of jeans that are just completely buried amongst each other and they're fighting each other on the rack for space versus you walk into somewhere where they're all laid out, the mannequins display exactly how they fit, and you just pick up your size and walk away. So these are the physical elements of space around a subject, right? But the same goes for how we design our homes. Larger homes, which have more space, allow you to float your furniture away from the walls, meaning you can set up a seating area, for example, in the center of a room, as opposed to having your couches pushed all up against the walls. You know what the difference in the feeling is when you have air and space that circulates around a seating area. It feels much more luxurious. So when you're designing a model home, for example, you might notice that in the bedrooms, they use undersized beds to give the illusion of more space, but they put a matching nightstand on either side with matching lamps so that it feels very complete. But they're going to change the scale of things to change your perception of the space. Scale and space is one of the most important factors in an environment. If things are out of scale, you will probably not notice right away, but you will feel completely off kilter. And one of the things that's often off scale is the size of our art in different spaces. Usually the art is too small for the space, or there's too much art for the space that we have. So when you think about scale as it relates to space, you might also remember big windows, tall ceilings, large doors. All of these things contribute to a feeling of luxury. So you might not have the ability to change the plate height of your ceiling. You might not have the ability to make your doors taller in your home, but you certainly have the opportunity to create more space that circulates around your furniture, that circulates in your closet. having more space feels more luxurious. And the thing I want to talk about this as we think about how we can apply this concept to our lives is that it's not just in the physical environment, it's in the mental and emotional environment more than anything. I find that having space in my day, in my week, in my month is so crucial for me to maintain a positive outlook on life. I'm telling you, it's that serious. If I have unplanned time, like today is a Sunday, my whole day was unscheduled. Actually, that's not true. I did one podcast episode earlier today, but I had the whole day to kind of get around to doing this when it felt good. And now I'm really enjoying the experience. The sun is streaming in on my desk. I have a cup of tea in front of me. I'm sitting here chit-chatting with my rich girls. Like, I honestly am pretty content right now. But if I made myself do this first thing in the morning because I had to be on schedule, I'd be pretty freaking stressed out about it. I don't know the vibes that would come through. Okay, I'm just going to say that. So how can we create more unplanned, unscheduled time? Well, the first thing that I would like to say is if you have kids, hiring a babysitter if you can afford it, or finding some type of care for your kids so that you can be off the clock for a little while. And being off the clock doesn't mean you have a chance to catch up on all the work that hasn't been done. It means you do something for yourself. I noticed this with myself too. Even if I just go somewhere for a couple of days or we have somebody watch the dog and I don't have to be thinking about when did she poop? When did she last go out? What do I need to do to make sure she's okay? I'm able to better take care of myself and self-regulate so that I can come back and look forward to doing those things with her. The other thing that I will say too is creating space in the schedule is important, but creating space in your mind is important. I'm a big believer in journaling things out, writing lists, getting the things that I need to remember out of my head and into a place where I know I can find them, which is usually the notes in my phone. And just getting things out of my head creates space for me to relax when I have the opportunity to. If I'm consistently worried about forgetting things or not remembering or things that I have on my mind, I'm going to be spinning my wheels all of the time, not relaxing. And the whole point of having space is to create luxury. What is luxury? It is the experience of expansiveness, of care, of comfort, of everything that you wish and desire for. That is a luxury. So it is our responsibility, and we can control a lot of these environmental influences like the sight, the smell, the sound, the touch, and the taste. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to control the space that we give things in our mind, the space that we make for things in our schedule, and allow ourselves the luxury of living the life that we wish to have now. So with that, I want to take us just really quickly into something that I've been waiting literally since we started this podcast to talk about, because it's what inspired the very famous segment, Birdie and Bogey. So let's get into this week's Birdie and Bogey. The Birdie this week, since this episode is dropping right before April, is that right? March 26th, this episode comes out. And the second week of April, you have the luxury of watching on television the most prestigious golf tournament of all time, the Masters tournament. It is the most prestigious tournament on the PGA Tour, and it garners a lot of attention from people who don't even follow golf because it is so exclusive and luxurious. And while we know from viewership and also how it's talked about in the press and the amount of attention that it gets, that it's the most popular of all of these different PGA Tour tournaments, it's actually, interestingly enough, leaving a ton of money on the table. That's right. The Masters revenue has a massive shortfall, but it's deliberate. And I find this to be fascinating because according to the global managing director, the Augusta National Championship is meant to keep the mystique and uniqueness surrounding the tournament in place, including keeping the course as pristine as possible and making it completely different from the other PGA Tour events. So to give you an idea of why this is different, there are a couple of different categories that the Masters can make money in. Any golf tournament can, right? You have merchandise, you have badges, which is entry to the tournament. So selling badges allows people to come in. You have international television rights, you have concessions, you have on-course sponsorship, you have domestic television rights. So interestingly enough, the potential revenue is what we're comparing here. They have a potential revenue of merchandise of $69 million. And that's also what they brought in 2022. if you know, you can only buy Masters gear at Augusta National. You cannot get it licensed anywhere else. So when people go to the Masters, they fucking go buck wild at that pro shop and they buy everything. And their merchandise sales just over the course of a week for this tournament, $69 million in just merchandise. Now, that is the highest number here of the revenue of all of the other things I'm going to tell you about. Because on badges, which is the entry to the golf course to watch and view it in person, the potential revenue opportunity for them is $185 million. But they only sell $40 million in badges to give access to the course for this tournament. Again, remember, he says they want to keep it completely pristine as possible. But the other thing that they want to keep pristine is they do not offer any on-course sponsorship, meaning Rolex or Bugatti or whomever cannot buy on-course sponsorship to have different brands shown while the players are shown on the course. And that is a potential revenue of $20 million that Augusta says no thank you to. In addition, they have concessions, and at Augusta National, they are known for their nasty ass pimento cheese sandwiches. I only say nasty ass because I am sure that is not something that I would like. Sounds absolutely disgusting, but they sell them for just a couple of bucks. And so with the concessions, they have potential revenue of $12 million, but they took in $8 million in 2022 because they actually keep the price of concessions really, really affordable. In addition, they also do not sell any domestic television rights, which is missed opportunity of $100 million. And the reason it generates no domestic television revenue is because of its agreements with CBS and ESPN, which allows Augusta complete control of the broadcast in exchange for no compensation. So basically, they're giving away the rights to the television broadcast for free to have and maintain full editing control. It's giving Kyle Richards on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I find that to be so interesting because they could, again, command another $100 million if they were ever to fully commercialize and auction off the domestic media rights. Now, we have to ask ourselves, why are they leaving all this money on the table? 100% to control the brand. It's 100% to control the brand because luxury doesn't always mean charging the most. In fact, I just told you that the pimento cheese sandwiches are very cheap, but also the badges are very underpriced. So you can get a practice round badge for $75 or a single day badge for $115. And typically if you go on StubHub or something, those will trade for like $600 or $1,700 or $6,000 for a 4-day badge when you can buy one for $375. But what's more important is to preserve the exclusivity of this brand and of this course. It is super special, super competitive to go. Getting tickets to this is so hard. And like I said, once you do make it there, you're getting all the gear you can get in your suitcase. So when you take it back home to your home course, you're telling everybody you went to the Masters. But what's more important here, and should be more important to everyone, is brand reputation. So yes, they're actively leaving money on the table because they don't want to price gouge people. They want to keep it a very special, pristine experience. And they're also more concerned about the public outward persona, which is why they control the editing rights to anything instead of going for a quick buck. Which brings me to my bogey, which is Real Housewives and the falling out of love that I'm having with Real Housewives. And if you've listened to this podcast before, you know that I am a Real Housewives stan. Like I am Bravo since day one. I watched season 1 of Real Housewives of Orange County when it first came out. Like I've been watching everything and I'm so disenchanted with it all right now. And the reason this relates to the Masters is because it kind of feels like everybody going on reality TV right now is just doing it to make a quick buck as opposed to doing something that's in integrity or something that they can control a little bit better. They're all being exploited, if you want to use a Bethany Frankel word, but then being mad when they're exploited. I don't know if that makes sense, but essentially what I feel like people are willingly signing up to do is have somebody else edit their life for the entertainment of others, and then they're getting mad when that happens. And what really kind of sparked this for me is the fact that I haven't watched the last season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills at all because it feels like they're all trying to self-produce. They're all trying to make themselves look really good. And it's just so transparently bad. Like we know Dorit and PK are going through massive financial issues, but nobody's talking about it. that's not reality TV. That's Dorit presenting what Dorit wants to present. We have Kyle manufacturing this whole storyline of her relationship or non-relationship friendship with Morgan. And at the end of it, we think we're going to get this big conclusion or reveal at the reunion. And it's not like she's not aware of the optics. She's very aware of the optics. And she's doing that to spin up a story for herself. And it just feels so inauthentic. And I think this is why I've been enjoying Traitors so much, or I enjoyed Traitors so much this season, because it was so campy and silly and fun, but there wasn't any self-producing. It was them navigating a challenge that they were all, trying to fight together to solve this puzzle. And their personalities came out because their focus was not on them. It was on the game at hand. And so for me, my bogey is that Real Housewives is just not doing it for me anymore. I'm in a bit of a content slump. I'm very sad. I am looking forward to Orange County coming back with all of this John Jansen, Alexis Bellino, Shannon Storms Bedore drama. So if you're in that OC game with me, you let me know. Send me a message on Instagram at oldmoneypodcast.com. If you found any value in this podcast, I would love if you would share it with a friend. Tag me in your Instagram stories. Send me a note. I love you guys so very much. Thank you for spending time with me on this episode. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Your listenership means the world to me. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye. Feeling rich? I hope so. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Old Money. If you have questions you want answered, email me at oldmoneypodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on social. We are at Old Money Podcast, and I am at your service. If this episode spoke to you, inspired you, helped you, if you took a single note, it would mean the world to me if you could please just take a minute to rate and review the podcast. And if you're not doing so already, subscribe. And if you have friends who like getting rich, please share this episode with them, even if it's just on your Instagram story. And I'd love you more than Jeff Bezos loves Amazon Prime. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Remember, I'm not your lawyer, I'm not your tax professional, and I'm not your financial advisor. The content presented in this podcast is intended to entertain, educate, inspire, and support listeners in their personal and professional development and does not constitute business, financial, or legal advice. In addition to that, this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products and services.